Hello, I'm Black Bright News, and this story about the undercover police officer who deceived a woman for 5 years can kind of resonate with a lot of women, those that go on online dating, even those who are in regular relationships, or even those people who are just seeking friendships, even those people are already in relationships. It forces you to question, is the person I think I'm with real? Do I really know that person? And sometimes we can be in relationships for years and we don't know that person until something happens. Something betrays them. So let me share you my thoughts on this story about the undercover police officer with Alison, not her real name. You know, sometimes you think you know someone. You live your life alongside them. You share mornings over tea. You make plans for the weekend, for holidays. Maybe even talk about building a family one day. You trust them. You love them. You believe in the little moments that feel ordinary but mean everything. And then one day you find out that everything you held as real, every laugh, every whispered hope, every shared secret was a lie. That's what happened to Alison and so many women like her, caught up in a scandal that stretches back decades, but is only now being fully told. Alison didn't meet a stranger, and she didn't fall for a con artist on the streets. She fell in love with a police officer, but not just any police officer, an undercover officer. Mark Jenner was his name in public, though it was carefully constructed identity. In truth, he was part of Britain's Special Demonstration Squad, a secretive unit tasked with spying on political activists, anti-racist campaigners, environmentalists, anyone the state considered a target. He had a job to do. But the way he did it, the methods he used, crossed lines most people barely imagine. For 5 years, Jenna lived alongside Alison. They cohabited for 4 out of those 5 years. They built a life together. She trusted him completely. She loved him completely. And all the while, every moment of intimacy, every promise, every plan was being used as a tool. His mission was not companionship, not love. It was intelligence gathering. He was undercover. She was part of his cover. The truth when it came out was devastating. At the undercover policing inquiry, Jenna admitted that he deliberately misled Alison. He called his actions callous and cruel, acknowledging he did not consider whether she would have consented if she had known who he really was. And what's chilling is how casual it seems when you hear it in the sterile language of inquiry. Deception, infiltration, operational necessity. But when you think about it from the other side, the side of the woman whose love was manipulated, it's heartbreak on a scale that's hard to put into words. And Alison was not alone. The inquiry was heard at least 25 undercover officers formed long-term, intimate relationships with women as part of their cover. Some even fathered children. The women involved were left to deal with an emotional fallout, the betrayal, the question of how they can ever trust again. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a lapse in judgment. Supervisors knew. The police knew. And they allowed it to happen. They prioritised espionage over human decency, over conscience. So why were they allowed to do this? The reasoning at the time was cold and flawed as it sounds, was operational necessity. If an officer was truly embedded in a political group, they had to seem credible. Living with someone, being in a relationship, forming intimacy, all of that made the officer seem more real, more trustworthy to the activists they were spying on. But the cost of that credibility was enormous. And it was borne entirely by women like Alison, whose lives were upended without consent, whose hearts were weaponized in a state operation. And that is why this story has captured public attention and outrage. It's not about spies in the shadow. It's about real people living real lives, deceived by those they trusted, manipulated in the name of the law and order. It's about systemic failure that allowed deception, abuse and manipulation to be normalised inside a policing system. The impact is emotional, psychological, profoundly human. These women have been forced to navigate trauma created by the very people entrusted to uphold the law. Every testimony, every revelation makes you wonder how deep the betrayal went. And it makes you think about trust, how fragile it is, how sacred it is, and how devastating it can be when it is broken. Alison's story is one of courage, though, coming forward, facing the truth, bearing the weight of betrayal. She and others have refused to stay silent, and through that they are forcing the state to reckon with its actions, to confront a history of secrecy and cruelty that has long been hidden. As Black Bright News, I don't just report the facts, as you know. I look at the human cost, the heartbreak, the resilience and the courage of those who live through them. Because this isn't just about undercover policing or about spies in the shadows or about policy and procedure. It's about people. It's about love used as a tool, trust weaponized, and the human spirit that refuses to erase even in the face of deception. And it's a story we all need to hear. Because what it means is that not just for Alison, but for any woman who is potentially seeking a relationship, who has just started a relationship, it causes her to question whether or not the person she's dealing with is authentic, has integrity, is who he says he is. And I know it can happen the other way around, but because we're talking about Mark Jenner, we're talking about a male deceiving a female. And you know what is scary? You have narcissists that do that. They enter relationships and they seek women who are vulnerable, who are empathetic, who are loving, who are giving, all the while knowing that their relationship isn't real on their part. They can make it look real. They can do everything that a normal relationship would look like, be loving, caring, but it's all opportunistic. It's all about them. It was all about what they need to achieve, how they need to feel. It's got nothing to do with the female partner. And this is what made me think when I was thinking about Mark Jenner. He was totally thinking about what he had to achieve. He wasn't thinking about Alison and what she might be going through, how she was building strong ties. Some people call it soul ties, and they're hard to break. The impact on that woman ever being able to trust again is like abandonment. When somebody abandons you in a relationship, you always think that the next person you meet is going to abandon you. You never fully forget the impact. And it's like something totally unrelated, like when I fell down the stairs. It's like that memory. The stairs seem like an enemy now. I can never quite trust the stairs, even though it was my fault. And a lot of people will question, did I miss this? How did I miss this? It forces you to question your judgment. And that's a sad thing, because Alison did nothing wrong. A lot of women don't do anything wrong when they're deceived, manipulated, or whatever it is. But I hope in sharing this story, it shines a light in someone. And yeah, speak to you again soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.